Well, today's smart topic, temper tantrums. As a parent, it can be humiliating. And for someone watching, it's sometimes annoying. So how do you deal with them?
Well, I have 2 kids. And if you have more than 1 kid at home, you know it can be very difficult because they each have their own personalities, right? And what works for one child may not be working for the other child.
That's right. Well, you know, a lot of you with advice on how to deal with temper tantrums on our Smart Family 15 Facebook page. Like Temeka King says, a good old-fashioned corner does the trick.
And Renetta Gamage Sloan says just ignore the tantrums and punish them until they get that everything will not be yes. And April Melham Allard says not every time, but when he does, we calmly remind him that he doesn't get everything he wants. And if we're at home, we tell him he can go cry in his room if he wants to. And if we're out and he can't calm down, we leave. Hey, join the conversation. We're on Facebook.com/SmartFamily15, and we always read your comments, so log in and let's chat.
Well, time for some smart parenting advice in our Ask Dr. Lynn series. Well, joining us now is Dr. Lynn Kenny, who is the author of the Family Coach Method. So, Dr. Lynn, thank you for joining us, first of all.
Of course.
And also, you're a child psychologist, too. You know, we always say the name of your book, but we never say what you actually do. So, you've got some good advice. And with our Dr. Lynn series, we've got a question today from a Valley mom.
Okay, let's hear.
Hi, Dr. Lynn. I'm Laura from Phoenix. I have 2 boys, ages 3 and 6, and I'm wondering if you can tell me how to manage tantrums in those 3-year-olds.
Okay, so duct tape probably wouldn't be the best advice.
That's a good question. I mean, you know what?
Kidding, of course.
When your little 18-month-old to 2-year-old is tantruming, it can be really frustrating and nerve-wracking. The important thing to remember is, remember you're a little baby?
Yes.
They cry to communicate, right?
Of course.
Tantrums are just a toddler's way of communicating.
Okay, so tantrums really are a way of them just communicate. So that screaming is actually a form of communication. But based on that, so how can parents help prevent or maybe rear them in communicating in a less screaming way?
Well, you know, the first thing you got to do is you got to understand your own child's sweet little temperament and give them new words and new actions so they can get their needs met without throwing their bodies on the floor. Okay? So let's step back and become a detective and think a little bit about what makes the kid tantrum. Okay? One is frustration. They have low frustration tolerance, and when they want something, they can't just say, "Hey, Mom, you know, can I have a Coke?" They can't say that.
Right, of course.
So 1, frustration. 2, they need lots of love and attention. And when you're working at your computer and you're busy doing your chores, they want you to sit down and play with them and pay attention to them. Right?
And then another way is, you were saying, feeling overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, sensory overwhelm for these little toddlers is really an important thing to know. So you got to make sure that you're on a good rhythm with good routine, lots of consistency, and they're eating and sleeping very well.
Okay, so make sure to meet their needs and sleep. I think we all need sleep
to
avoid
don't take their tantrums personally. What I observe is that the parents expect the toddler to act older than they are and to be more capable of just talking about it. Well, they can't yet.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is build their skills by giving them the words and saying, "Oh, well, Johnny, I can see that you want a strawberry now. Now let's stand up and let's walk over to the fridge," and then just empower them. Help them. How do you open the fridge? How do you get the strawberry? Just involve them. You don't have to get mad at them.
That leads to my next question. So when it comes to tantrums, should we give them choices, you know, to kind of pipe that down a little bit?
Yeah.
Or should we just say, you know, they want the strawberries, you can't give it to them. You know, should we offer them another choice? Or, I mean, how would we do that?
I think that it's a brilliant idea to empower them with choices, because then they feel like they've got a little bit of a sense of control, and you also don't feel like you were a pushover and you gave in. So just distract them, give them new ideas, and answer their needs while giving them new skills.
Okay, well, that's good. So I think, you know, parents are probably wondering if their child's tantrum will ever go away. I mean, will they?
They do. You know what? Most of them, if they've got adequate language skills and motor skills, they're going to outgrow the tantrum probably, you know, by 3 years of age, and they're going to move on to reading, writing, arithmetic, and eventually dating.
Okay, well, I do have to say that a lot of parents, and I'm one of them, I have tantrums still to this day, so we never go out of it. Dr. Lynn, thank you so much for being here and some good advice.
My joy.